moderator. In a moment, I'll introduce you to today's presenters from MEI and our partner DPCI. Just a reminder that during the webinar, all of you are muted so that there's no distractions from people who may not want to mute their phone and may have background noise. However, throughout the webinar, you may use the question panel on the right of your screen to submit questions that you'd like asked to the presenters following the formal presentation. And if you'd like to enlarge this window on your screen, there is a little zoom button in the lower right-hand corner that you can use to make the window larger if you need to. Well, some of you are attending this webinar because you're current K4 users interested in learning how to get more out of your investment. Some of you may be here because you're currently working with Drupal and want to know more about what you can do with it. But we're all here to learn about the integration of the two systems and how using them together can help organize all content under one dynamic system, saving time and money. So let's get started. Tracy, can you advance that? Thank you. For those of you that may not be familiar with DPCI, they're an interactive technology agency based in New York City that delivers integrated content management solutions for organizations that need to publish content to web, print, mobile, and e-reader devices. DPCI is an Acquia Platinum partner helping customers design and implement Drupal-based web content management systems. DPCI also works with Adobe as an OEM partner, and they're an integration partner with MEI for K4 publishing systems, which is the genesis for our work together on this project. DPCI serves customers in a variety of markets throughout the United States. Representing DPCI today, we have Joe Bahana, their CEO, and Tracy Gardner, who's VP of Client Services. For those of you that do not know MEI, we're an industry leader in the development of quality proven software solutions for the evolving publishing industry. For nearly 20 years, for more than 2,000 customers around the globe, MEI has been at the forefront of helping advertising, editorial, and production teams use technology to improve their business. In addition to developing our own products, we serve as the exclusive distributor of the K4 publishing system in the Americas, and we're the leading Adobe InCopy integrator in the United States. So in addition to myself, we have joining us today from MEI, Linda Bruce, our VP of Enterprise Sales. So the challenges that we're addressing today, we know we're all too familiar with the economic and technical challenges facing publishers today. Like never before, the pressure is on to run our businesses as efficiently and economically as possible, while at the same time trying to stay nimble, adapt to changes in digital media, embrace new business models, and put our brands and our content in as many places as possible. Our focus here today is not to identify and enumerate the aches and pains of the industry. It's to look at some of the practical challenges that derive from this present reality and to suggest how a new approach might help. The overarching challenge is how to reduce the time and effort of creating, producing, and delivering content across multiple media to different audiences. In practical terms, that might mean unifying print and online staffs. It certainly means leveraging whatever skills and technologies you can and making it as easy as possible for staff to transition to new workflows. One thing we know for certain is that digital products will continue to evolve as complements to print publications. As our web strategies change, so too do our internal editorial and production workflows. Technology that's flexible can help us implement these changes more quickly while still keeping our existing product workflows on an even keel. Today we'll show you one example developed by DPCI that bridges two popular publishing systems to create a seamless multi-channel solution. It's not the only example of multi-channel publishing with K4, but we wanted to invite you to a public demonstration today because we believe it's an exciting new addition to the K4 ecosystem. Here to tell you a little more about how K4 plays in multi-channel publishing is Linda Bruce, our VP of Enterprise Sales. Linda?
Thanks, Mark. Since its inception as the first database-driven system for InDesign-based workflows, actually back in 2000, K4 has become an industry-proven solution of choice by many of the most prominent publishers in the Americas and around the world. Today, at more than 330 installations with more than 17,000 users at publishers such as Condé Nast, Hearst, McGraw-Hill, and National Geographic, they rely on K4 as their primary means of collaboration, content management, and workflow for publication production. Customers have chosen K4 for its ease of use and intuitive user tool sets, its rock-solid stability, its unique price-performance value, and its built-in support for multi-channel workflows. Customers have benefited from K4's strong feature sets, including content management, being able to work on InDesign and InCopy files from anywhere without having to mount a file server where content is contained in a database, automatic version controls, histories of the versions, the ability to compare versions, all of the controls that manage user privileges and access rights, including even granular controls to determine what users can actually do inside InDesign and InCopy. The Holy Grail, simultaneous workflow between layout and editorial with exact copy fitting for the InDesign user as if they were working directly on the InDesign layout. When things happen collaboratively in the workflow or when people are working standalone, all of the notifications to users so that they know when something is changed. Editorial controls that people on the editorial side have wanted for years, including redlining, edit tracking, inline note management, the ability to really communicate within the editorial process. Workflow management routines in terms of all the routing and assignments and keeping track of statuses and due dates of all the work that's within the workflow. And then finally, process automation, the ability to automate all different kinds of output processes such as generation of XML, generating PDFs for review and approval, or for high-resolution press-ready output. K4 has always also played really well with other web content management systems. As a result, we have customers that use K4 in conjunction with a variety of web CMSs and publish content to print, web, mobile devices, and syndication partners. Some of the other web CMSs include TeamSite, FatWire, Tridian, and Alfresco. These integrations have let customers such as Businessweek and Handley, for example, merge their print and online operations, speeding time to market for their content, as well as being able to tailor their content to a variety of channels and audiences, and even launch new electronic products at no increased cost and no increase in labor. Today, we'd like to showcase the latest of these integrations, one that's developed by DPCI for the open source Web CMS platform Drupal. Here to tell you more about that is Joe Bahana, the CEO of DPCI. Joe?
Hello. Drupal CMS, which was founded by Dries Boetaert 10 years ago while he was a student at the University of Antwerp, is one of the most popular open source content management systems in the world today. Just a few short years ago, we didn't see as widespread adoption of open source CMS platforms in the publishing market, but today products like Drupal boast hundreds of thousands of customers globally, and many mega enterprises, Medtech, Warner Brothers, Sony, News Corporation, Hachette, and several other that you see here on this slide have all embraced Drupal for its powerful functionality. At DPCI, we've had a lot of experience implementing different web content management systems, and about 4 years ago I noticed that a great number of our publishing customers were struggling with implementing and maintaining proprietary CMS products. And as many of you know, publishers often run with smaller development resources but need to scale very rapidly in functionality. Additionally, our customers were seeking a solution that was going to make them maximally discoverable on the major search engines. So I commissioned an internal R&D project where a few developers and I looked at the different open source products, and Drupal was the clear winner at the time, and we feel that it is still the leading open source web content management system for its architecture, its structural flexibility, and the ability to pretty much do anything graphically in a Drupal environment. The fact that there are a huge and growing number of modules to choose from that are available on the Drupal.org website or through Drupal implementers like DPCI. We also like the Organic Groups module and other Web 2.0 capabilities that you can add onto a Drupal site. The fact that it has powerful out-of-box SEO support really lessens the load for companies that don't want to have to hand tag everything or lovingly handcraft each content node. And finally, the Drupal community is growing like wildfire. The last DrupalCon I was at, I was surprised to meet a woman who said that she doesn't work. She was a stay-at-home mom, but she was at the conference because she is what she called a Drupal enthusiast. And when in history have we ever heard of anyone being a hobbyist around a Web CMS? So we've been doing some K4 integrations with other CMS products over the past few years. Linda actually mentioned a few. However, in the past few months, I got to talking with Mark Walter and the folks at MI. Then I agreed to make some investments here at DPCI to develop a Drupal module and some other software to create an interaction between K4 and Drupal. What you're going to see today is a solution that leverages the content development strengths of K4. Many companies that already have K4 may be cutting and pasting into their Web CMS, or they may be sending the InDesign files offshore or elsewhere to be converted to XML and so forth. What we chose to do here is to create a way to allow editors to quickly release articles and images from K4 to Drupal, porting over metadata and search terms or key phrases that will make the content more readily discoverable on the internet as well as on your site, and on your web platform in any section of the site that you would need. Also leveraging different workflows within K4. So I'm now going to turn the presentation over to Tracy Gardner, who is our VP of Client Services at DPCI, who will be doing the demo for you. Tracy.
Thanks, Joe. Okay, let me get out of this presentation here, and let's get started. I'm going to begin the demonstration as a designer, already logged into K4 through InDesign. I've already checked out an in-progress InDesign layout from K4. My art has been placed, as well as the available copy. As you can see from my page objects palette here, K4 is managing the article components, and I can see details about the article from the columns in this palette. In this scenario, the designer is finalizing the design while waiting for the editor to write the missing pull quote and also to copy fit the story. Let's switch over to InCopy, where I can show how the editor can work on the story at the same time that the designer is working on the layout. Here in InCopy, I'll go to my K4 Edit menu and log in as an editor. The scenario is that the story is in the final round of edits, and the editor is going to make some adjustments and release the story early to the website rather than waiting for the print magazine to be finalized. Let's check my assignments, and I see here that I have an article waiting for me. I'm going to check out the story, and I'm able to edit this story while the designer is finalizing the layout. It looks as if I'm editing an InDesign, but I'm actually in InCopy, and K4 is managing the workflow for both the layout and the article. I also have different views of the story where I can see who has made edits, I can make new edits, I can make notes, and I can see notes from others. You can see here that there are some changes tracked for this particular article. I can click on my change info to see that Walter made these edits here. I can click on my notes info to enter this note here. I have multiple text objects, all within a single text file, within a single InCopy file. Here's the headline, the subhead. You can see all of the labels, and each one of these InCopy elements has its own copy fit information, which you can see up here. If I click here on the body text, we can see that for the print layout, I'm over by 2 lines. I'm going to go ahead and make some final edits to this article, and I'm also going to write the missing pull quote. Let's pop back over to the layout view, and I'm going to zoom in on this paragraph here just so that you can see the text a little bit better. I'm going to make a couple of minor edits. Let's do that there, and then I'm going to actually go back over to my galley view, and I'm going to write that pull quote right here where my designer had placed some dummy text for me. So I've copied and pasted some content here so that you don't have to watch me type. And here you can see that with my track changes turned on, I've deleted the dummy text that was there, and I've inserted my new pull quote. So let's say that now this story is ready to release to the website. I can make use of all of the paragraph and character styles in the InCopy application so that I don't have to know anything about XML tags in order to send this content over to the website. You can see here on the left-hand side, these are all of the different style names that are applied to this copy. And this mapping of style sheets to XML tags is normally something that we would automate in live production, but I'm going to show you how to do this manually so that you understand how it works. I'm going to go over here and click on my tags palette so I can show you where I'm mapping style to XML tags. You can have many different body text styles, for example, like a body text with a drop cap, an indent, a no indent, etc. And all of those styles can actually map to one XML tag for body text. This is a great way to get your content tagged when you don't know anything about XML. The mapping definition, which I'll show you here, the mapping definition can be saved with your article template. So you don't have to configure the mapping definition each time, and you can create different mapping sets for different types of articles. So you can have different sections of the magazine or for the website have different mapping definitions. And it's as easy as clicking OK. I don't need to configure it each time. So you'll see that after I click OK, the XML tags have been added around each copy element. It was not simple. Now I'll go ahead and check it. So I go to my K4 Edit menu, and I'll click to check in this article. For this demonstration, I'll be using a status trigger to deliver this article to the website. So here I'm going to choose a status of XML export, and that's what I'm using as my trigger. I'm also going to fill out some keywords and a description that I want Drupal to use for this article on the website for SEO purposes. So let's add some keywords here. I'm going to say Italy, and earthquake is good. And for a description, I don't want to bore you with long copying here, so I'll write something quick. Okay, and then the main here is how I can determine where in my website navigation I want this article to display. This is an international article, so I'm going to select international here. And then I've also prepped an image for web use only, and I'm going to key in the name of that image here. So let's go ahead and check this in now that I've filled out all the information that I need. Okay. And now if I go back to my assignments palette, you'll see that this article is no longer assigned to me. It's been moved on in the workflow. I should also mention that although I used a status trigger to deliver this article to the website, there are other fields that could be used to generate an XML export, such as embargo date or other metadata. For example, K4 can watch to see when there is an article with an embargo date of today and deliver to the web all articles that match that criteria. Remember that we're in a collaborative environment, so now I'm going to switch on where the designer can update the layout with the latest version of the copy at the same time that K4 is processing that copy for delivery to the website. So let's jump back over to InDesign, where I still have my layout checked out. I'm going to look at my Page Objects palette, and we can see here by this icon that this article has been modified. I'm going to click here on my palette to load the new article, and what we should see is a new pull quote come in here, as well as the text changes that I made to the body copy. So let's click on this icon here, and now you'll see the new pull quote has flowed in. So as a final step, let's check this layout in for final output. Let's say that we're going to create our final PDF for delivery to press. I can change the status to a ready for PDF status, which in this scenario will actually trigger a print to create a PDF with the correct output settings, and this layout will be ready for delivery. So I think that that's all here. I'm going to go ahead and check this in. And while we're waiting for that, let's go back over to the website. Well, not back over. Let's go over to the website. Let's go to my news.com site and let's check out this article on the website. There it is. You'll see here in the Breaking Now section, the article Aftershocks in Italy as Rescues Go On is here. It says 1 minute ago. That's when it was published. That's how we can tell that it's the most current news story. I'm going to go ahead and click on this article so you can see the information that came over from K4. Here, the headline that we had written in K4 and InCopy has mapped over to a headline style here on the web. The picture that I had associated is here as well. We have the byline information and the body copy. I'd also like to talk for a few minutes about the tag cloud that you see over here on the right. This tag cloud displays keywords for content throughout the site. The larger keywords are for those words that have a higher density throughout the site. Since this is a test site that we've used for this webinar, you're seeing that the word testing is fairly prominent. But you can also see that the keywords like Italy, for example, have populated here from this story that I sent over from K4. You'll also notice both the URL and the page title, which are auto-generated right from the headline that we created in K4. This increases the discoverability of the article for us. It is all driven from the metadata we entered in K4. Although this is a simple Drupal implementation, you can see that it is integrated with many social media engines from these icons here. And other areas of the site, if I come back over to the home page, are actually populated from incoming feeds such as local weather, which you can see down here, markets, which you can see up here on the top right. Let's go back in. I'm going to show you when I click to edit this story how some of the metadata and content from K4 was actually mapped to the content management system. And I'll also talk about some of the other features that can be implemented through Drupal. So you can see here in this content edit form that some of the fields were populated straight from K4. We have the title, we have the category, the main category that I spoke about, this metadata. We have the keywords right here that I had entered in K4, the subhead, the image, the body copy. And as I scroll down through this form, you can see some of the other functionality that Drupal provides. I can implement site-wide comments with CAPTCHA support. I can make this article one that is prominent on the home page by clicking the Feature on Homepage link, which is right here, promoted to front page. I talked about comments and CAPTCHA settings. These are some of the options that you can implement here with Drupal. Again, this is a simple implementation, but the key things that I wanted to talk about were the SEO-specific things like the meta keywords and the meta description, which is increasing the discoverability of this article, as well as the auto-generated page title and URL. Okay. So now that I've showed you this, I'm actually going to go back to the home page. And I'm also going to click on the international link, since this is the area of the site navigation that I assigned this article to. So let's click here. You'll see that Aftershocks in Italy is the first article listed here. It was posted 5 minutes ago. You'll also see that for this implementation, we chose to use the pull quote as the teaser for this article. Now, that's just what we decided to do here, but you could map other content or other fields of data, or even have the first certain number of characters from your body text be used as the teaser here. So I think that that's all that I have to show here on the Drupal side for this particular article. I'm going to jump back over to K4 now and show a final scenario showing from K4 to web again. So allow me to do that. I'm going to jump back over to, and in this situation, I'm actually going to log in as a writer and show how I would be creating an article straight for the website without being dependent on the print magazine. So let's log in here as a writer. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use an InCopy template as the starting point for my article. And as I explained earlier, I could have InCopy templates for different sections of the magazine or the website. So let's choose New Article from Template here. I'm going to give it a name. And I'm going to choose my template. For this article, I want to choose my web article template. I'm going to click Create. And what I'm going to do in this scenario is I'm going to write the body text as if I am a writer, and I'm going to send my editor for my editor to add a headline, a subhead, and maybe some of the SEO tags for the website. So let me go ahead and do that here. I'm going to paste in some body copy that I have stored. I'll use my own name as the byline. And then once I've done that, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to check this article in. And as I said, I'm going to route it to my editor. Let's make it for the current issue. I've written this for web only, so I'm going to put it in the web only section. I'm sending it as the copy edit stage because I'd like my editor to do a copy edit. And I'm going to allow my editor to fill out this other information. So let's check this in. Okay, once I've checked it in, I'm going to log out. And I'm going to log back in as an editor. Okay, I'm going to go over to my assignments, see if I have a new assignment here, which I do. Let me click here and check out this article. I'm going to add a headline and a subhead. Again, I've stored some information here. So here's a headline and a subhead. Okay. And then once I have that information in here, I'm going to move on. And I'm not going to do the pull quote for now, but I'm going to go over to my galley view and I'm going to do the map styles to tags as I showed you earlier. Because I had used a web template, I have the mapping definition already saved. So if I click here, just like I did earlier, map styles to tags, click OK, you'll see that the XML tag markers are added here within this article. Okay, so let's go ahead and check this one in now. And I'm going to do something a little bit differently here. What I'm going to do is create what's called a variant. Basically, I'm telling K4 to take this article and to create a web version. This branches the content out separately so that, for example, a long version can be delivered to the website and then a print version can be created that is cut to fit for the magazine. I'll also put this variant into a different section. So let's do web here, and I already have it in the web only section because it's not specific to the magazine. And I'm going to give it the XML export status. And we're going to give it keywords. And a description. Okay, and then for this article, we're going to say it's in the entertainment section, and I have another image that I have prepped for the website. I'll put that in here. Let me double check that I've set everything up correctly, and I'm going to go ahead and click check in. Great. So now, while K4 is processing this article for the website, I'm going to jump back over to InDesign. I'm still logged in as the same designer, but this time I'm going to look for first my layout that's in progress. Let me check that out. I have here a layout that I have already prepped. I've placed some art, and I've placed some dummy copy because I'm waiting for the copy to become available. And I'm going to do a simple query to look for the New York article and see if I can find something here. And what you'll see in my palette is the web variant. It has this special web icon. I'm going to create a separate print variant for this print magazine that I can place in my layout. I do that by choosing Create Variants here from the palette. And you'll see that not only do I have a print variant available, but I also have a mobile variant, a Spanish variant, and you could have any other variants for whatever other channels you want to publish to. For this demonstration, I'm going to just choose Print, and I'm going to click Create. Oh, I'm going to change the status. I'm going to keep this right here for now because I am going to send it to an editor, and I'm going to put it in the departments section because it's now for the magazine, no longer just for the web. So let's go ahead and click Create. And you'll see in my palette that I now have a print variant of this same article. And this is the one that I can actually place on my print layout. And to just kind of finish this up, I'm going to place this article to show you how K4 allows us to do that. Here's the article listed in my palette, and I can simply drag and drop each of these elements to its correct position on the page. So I'll do just a few of these just to show. Here's my headline. Here's a subhead. And then finally, of course, I'll just drag and drop my body copy. You can see that all of that content flowed in here, and now this print version can continue along the editorial workflow for the magazine. Okay, so I think that now that I've finished showing that, I'm going to jump back over to Drupal, and let's find that article on New York movies. Here it is. You'll see this is now the breaking news showing up here, posted 2 minutes ago. Basically the same as I've showed before. I can click on the article. I can see the photo and all of the information that came straight from K4. You can also see that the tag cloud has been updated to include keywords that came from this article. You see New York, stock, movies are all keywords that were applied. And if I click on the entertainment section, we'll see that this article has now showed up here. And if you remember, I didn't actually apply a pull quote in K4. So my dummy copy actually came over here. Okay, so I think that's all for my K4 to Drupal demonstration. Just to recap what I was able to show you here, we showed how a designer and an editor can collaborate together on a print magazine with InCopy and InDesign, as well as the ability to work right from within InCopy and to tag your content with XML tags without knowing anything about web tagging, to deliver that straight over to the website with simple clicks and have that information with all the metadata applied in K4 populate, in this case, your Drupal website. I also showed how you could create an article strictly for the website and have it go through its own workflow independent of the print magazine, deliver that to the web as well, and then take that same content and use a version of it for your print magazine. So I hope you enjoyed the demonstration today. I'm going to jump back over to the team here for question and answer. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Tracy. That was excellent. And I hope that out there in the audience you were able to see how combining these two together with this integration really makes it easy for the editorial team to release stories out to the web and to help the web team out with adding some of that metadata information that is always seems like it's hard to get in. The editorial folks typically know the content best, and this way they can add some of that and have it show up in the website, and that all contributes to that search engine optimization that helps drive the ad revenue. if we have questions, now's the time to submit those. I know that we do have a question here that I'm going to just field. Somebody asked about the pricing of this. I'll just say that that's still under discussion and that we'd be happy to talk offline with anyone one-on-one on that. And somebody also asked about availability. And Joe, maybe you'd like to comment about that?
Yeah, sure. We have this implementation is ready. As you can see, it's currently one way, K4 to Drupal. So we're looking for some lead customers. We're expecting to enhance, to continually enhance the module that we've worked on and some of the other software over the upcoming weeks and months. And I'm also, we've been coordinating with a group of maintainers of several modules already in the Drupal environment that we're trying to leverage. So we're going to be continuing to basically invest in this technology, and what we're looking for today is to see if there's any new possible customers that are interested in this.
Okay. We had a question from someone, where do you get the Drupal module that accepts the K4 data? And right now that's something that DPCI has developed. I
think there was another question on the version of K4 that we were presenting.
Right.
So you just saw the CS4 support, so that's K4 v5.9 and then revision which, Mark?
Well, version 8, 5.9.8, and then there is a new slight update coming to that, but the one that has support for CS4 is version 8.
As far as the other question was exporting the XML file locally, yeah, of course you have total control to export the XML wherever you'd like to go with it. In fact, you could ingest it into a content repository if you'd like, and then we could go from there. For this particular presentation, we actually send the file over to a particular directory in the Drupal environment.
We also had a question about image handling and whether that might be handled differently. There are some other options. Linda, I don't know if you want to speak to that.
Well, the K4 system, this is speaks to some of the ongoing future enhancements that Joe talked about. The K4 system today has the ability to be able to manage the images in the workflow as well. And the variant behavior that Tracy demonstrated, you could include and incorporate image management into the workflow as well, whereby you would have you could have a variant of a photo or photos, for example, for a story that would be high-resolution CMYK variants that would go into print, and then either completely different photos or a web-optimized JPEG variant that would go out with the XML. K4 understands that if the photos are included with the story, then it sends out the image automatically within the XML stream. So K4 basically can deliver up all the content, including the photos. And this is one aspect of the continued evolution of this K4 Drupal connection as it keeps moving forward.
Tracy, maybe you can address the question that was about what other triggers besides status can be used to release print content to the web as soon as it's copy edited?
Sure. Essentially, any of the metadata that you configure in K4 could be used as triggers. I showed the status trigger. I talked about using things like date or something like that. So depending on the specific environment and what metadata is required in your workflow, any metadata could essentially be used for the trigger.
As Tracy mentioned earlier,
if you need to embargo articles where articles cannot actually show up on the website until a certain date is met, that would be a really good trigger to use as well.
To add to that, the K4 has the ability to perform what's called system queries. These would be background automations such that you could tell K4 every hour, I want you to look for all stories that have an embargo date of today, that have been copied, that also include a particular authorization metadata field, a particular combination of criteria. And it could look through the system at whatever interval you select, and whenever it finds content that satisfies that criteria, it does something with it. And not only could it generate the XML, and in this case pass it over directly to a Drupal directory, the XML export could also take the result in XML and kick off an automated FTP process and actually FTP it to the particular location where it gets picked up. So there's lots of different options, and all of these can be used at the same time. Multiple different types of output process can be triggered in different ways all at the same time within the workflow.
We also had a question whether the web article had to include all of the elements that were in the print article the way it happened here. And the answer is no. You would, in the standard extract that typically is sort of out of the box, what you'll get is all that content, but you will run an XSLT that will run a transform into how you want the XML going into the website. And so at that point, you can ignore certain things that you don't want to come in, or you can look for certain tags that you may want to selectively include or omit. So you would certainly have control over how you would want to display the content coming over. You could also create, as is indicated here, you could create a web-specific variant that might have content edited specifically for the web. But either way, it would not have to be the identical content.
We also have customers that are not necessarily using variants. They're using just the main story, and they've incorporated all kinds of additional text that would include content that would be directed to the web only. Small bulleted list summaries of the article, for example, or extra teasers. Business Week, for example, when they write a story, they probably have 20 additional text objects that are where content is written right within the same story, none of which appear if that story went into the printed magazine, but they're used when it goes out to web. They'll do the same thing. Well, they'll have certain text objects that only get picked up when that XML result is sent for a mobile device, for example.
There was another question I wanted to field. The presentation that we gave said that the URLs were search engine optimized. Tracy, you might not have noticed this, but your first article that you put in, because you were logged in as an admin, Drupal showed the URL as a node. So if you could just go back to that page just to show
Sure.
that the page title, the URL, the head all matched. Just to sort of actually show the Aftershocks one, because it should be fine. The real classic.
This one, yeah, this one shows it as well, correct?
Yeah, this one was fine, but just to show the other one, just to
Okay.
whomever asked that question, I think, because I had the same.
Yep, I'll click in here.
And it should be fine. You see that. But I think because you were in the edit interface,
When
it
I'm
had
in
it
the
was
edit
showing up
mode,
as a note.
it shows the node. That's correct. So here you can see that the page title, the URL here, and the actual title here. The page title and the URL are generated from this title here.
And Joe, we have a good follow-on question while you're right there. Obviously, these sections don't necessarily match up one-to-one with what was in the print publication. And someone asked, do they have to sort of be a one-to-one type of matchup? And the answer is no. And maybe, Tracy, you want to talk about that.
Sure. When I had shown in InCopy, when I was doing the map styles to tags, basically, we only need to map for the elements that actually are going to the website. So if a pull quote is in the print magazine and that content does not belong on the website, that would be excluded in the mapping set for the web. So only the content that you want to go there is what will show up there.
And as far as the sections, the departments, what you see is sort of the headlines across this red bar on the screen here. Those also don't have to be a one-to-one with the print pub if you might have the website organized differently.
Right, and they were in the demonstration, they were actually completely different, which is why we had separate metadata to trigger for the website. There was another question too about local formatting or character formatting and whether or not bold and ital can be transferred from the InCopy article to the website, and it certainly can. In this demonstration, I didn't have that local formatting, but the XSLT that we use can translate that formatting into the formatting that is needed on the website.
There was a question about expiration of content mark that I didn't quite catch in this thread, a very long number of questions.
It says,
you might want to restate it so that we can...
I think the question from the audience was, what about if there's a story that has some sort of expiration on it and you want to take it down? That'd be something you manage within the Drupal environment, and how do you go about doing that?
Sure. Well, Drupal has functionality that actually it should turn on to actually first embargo content, so you could set a specific date and time that you want an article or any kind of content node to be published. And likewise, you can set an expiration date and time, or just date, for any content type that's on the in the Drupal environment.
And then there was a question about whether this Drupal module would be using open source licensing the same as the overall CMS.
Any kind of work that is done in the Drupal platform is naturally should be done as in a copyleft licensing. We're still considering releasing when we're going to release our work to the open source community.
Okay.
Tracy, did you address the local formatting question yet?
Yeah, I just answered that.
Okay, great.
I think we've gone through, and I think what we're going to do, we've handled most of the questions here, and I apologize through the interface if we've missed some question. We certainly would love to follow up. Tracy, if you could put the contact information just up one more time. We certainly would invite all of you that are out there to contact us if we've missed answering your question, or if you'd just like to learn more, please contact either one of our organizations. And we'd like to thank you all for attending. Thanks to DPCI, our partner, for helping us put together this webinar. We hope it's been informative for all of you out there, and we look forward to talking with you about it again soon. Thanks again, everyone.